Well, my friend Jim Livers convinced me to come to Florida to play in the GT with him. Now, that means I had to forego my usual redneck thing of this week of watching football, shooting at deer, and watching NASCAR. But it was worth it, and came down with Jim. I flew, and Jim brought my Army down along with his friend Steven, and that kept me from having to try to take it on the airplane. This is just showing you some of the terrain at the event if you've never been before. The nice battle mats, the terrain layout, and some of it's just for my friend Craig, who's never seen a GT tournament table before, and the quantity of terrain on them. And so the like I said, the terrain was beautiful. Some of the stuff a little too impassable, and late in the event, a couple of us just moved it out of the way, and so that we could fight a proper battle without having to play ring around the impassable terrain. So anyway, excellent terrain, excellent setup, just loved it. All right, I had a pretty simple list for the doubles event. Um, it consisted of 6 regiments of slaves, 2 hordes of blights, one with the brew of strength and one with the orcish skull pole, a weapons team with no upgrades, an enforcer with the inspiring talisman because he gets his rally and inspiring, kind of like an extra battle standard bearer, and then a swarm crier with the loot of insatiable darkness. That's it, 1,000 points. Just tried to keep it simple, tried to be compatible, excuse me, with my doubles partner Jim Livers. Right, I'm not exactly sure what Jim had in his army. In fact, I gave him 2 of my units of slaves to give him some chaff to help him out. Um, it looks like he had a horde of blights. I'm pretty sure they had the thing that makes him a lead, uh, the Doom Wheel with the upgrade, for shooting, a unit of Giselles, um, a unit of Spear Rats, and I'm sure there's something else, maybe a Blight Lord, and maybe either the Mortar or a weapons team. All right, I'm not going to narrate this turn by turn. Um, Jim and I kind of pushed together, thought we could go straight ahead and fight stuff. Uh, that was not to be. They had just so much flying stuff, and then they had the gigantic dragon and basically a Balrog that just absolutely trashed us. At one point, they concentrated everything on me and pretty much eliminated my entire army, and then kind of shifted back toward Jim. Um, like I said, it was a true butt stomping, uh, in not in a good way. And the thing is both of our opponents were excellent players, and Jim and I, who were not very experienced at the game, learned an immense amount of playing this game, which really helped us in the remaining part of the tournament. So kudos to them. I mean, like I said, they had the right plan, they had the right troops, and just dusted us. So, but like I said, again, I mean, some stuff Jim and I weren't so close on the rules on. Um, just uh, some tips that we've gleaned from watching those guys play. It really did help. And this picture is Jim's last stand, or uh, it was bad. And that is the entire remnant of my army. All right, I think this game was against Elves and Brotherhood. Um, Jim and I set up a lot better, or actually a lot better this time. Um, Able to kind of screen the flanks, take advantage of my Caterpillar Potion with my unit of Blights. Uh, Shooting did do some damage to us, but it wasn't horrible. But what got us was a big unit of these Brotherhood Knights that were just kicking our butts all over the place. We did manage, though. I suicide charged my units to keep their forces out of the middle of the table, and Jim brought up his spear rats, which you can see in the upper right hand corner, was our reserve, and so the reserve is what really turned the battle for us to win the game, and so like I said, the plan this time worked because we had the troops for the job, I think, for this. And so I've got another picture coming up that I enjoy. This Jim's as you can see, their knights are just rampaging through the back of my line in this picture. It was bad. At the very end, the knights overran a charge, and Jim was able to flank charge them with his unit of spear rats and destroy them. And that's what turned everything toward the middle of the table. And our plan worked by keeping them off of us, and we won the game by Jim's unit of spear rats. So Jim and I are happy we did win one game. Uh, we were happy that the players on the in game two had an army that we could actually fight against. Well, then we're back to the giant flying critters, which we had really nothing to handle this whole event. And we did keep him grounded a few times by charging a Blight Lord into him. Jim's Blight Lord just kept him off of us for the whole damn game, just about until the very bitter end. And the Night Stalkers also had a flying regiment of troops of some sort. Like I said, I've never played against Night Stalkers before. And they managed to take out, I think, pretty much all my slaves. The crowning success of this whole game is the taking out of the two dwarf hordes, which are extremely hard to take out. There's the Blight Lord stopping the big dragon guy, and taking out a legion of scarecrows. I think the one that got us was the stupid doppelgangers, which I'd never even heard of before, and that was not good for because I was playing blights, and so all of a sudden the doppelgangers had 30 swings, and so that did not end well for us. In the end, the dwarf Brock riders, those things are insanely hard. And a good unit, and they kind of came back through the middle of the table and just vacuumed us up, finishing us all off. But again, fun game, great guys to play against, learn some more stuff, stuff that helps us the next day. But we were happy, though, that we did take out most of their big infantry things in the game, which is really what our army was designed to do, was fight other armies with infantry. So anyway, like I said, I was just I was happy with the game despite the fact we lost, but the learning how to stop the experience in stopping his big flying thing with the Blight Lord came in handy all the rest of my games. And so another well lesson learned and another unfortunate defeat. Okay, some thoughts on the doubles. It was a fun event. We laughed, cried, moaned, groaned the entire time. But we really did have a good time. And Jim and I learned so much from playing against excellent players. And that really did help us the rest of the tournament, especially me. I mean, I was watching what they were doing. I'm like, okay, I would have never thought to do that. And just some great learning experiences for it. Only thing I have to say on the negative side is in these split games like this, the large creatures are just too powerful, and the large flyers, because I mean, in your 2,000 point army, if they beat you up, you have no excuse. But when you're trying to put together two 1,000 point lists from two different people, you don't really have a thing in there that's designed just to help you with flyers. So my suggestion for next year is maybe just ban the big critters. I mean, I don't know what third edition is going to do to the dynamic of those, but I think like I said, the second game where we played somebody that didn't have them, we did okay, and it was a tight game. I mean, it came down to literally the last dice roll for that game to end, and so both sides had a great game. The games, like I said, with the big flyers, there was all we did the whole time was react to big flyers, and like I said, without the tools to do it, there was really nothing we could do. So that's my thoughts for next year. Try to keep the big critters out of it, and but otherwise, it was perfect. I mean, I can't imagine any more fun that I would have had in a game like this. So thank you, my friend Jim Livers, for convincing me to come to Florida with you and to be your teammate. And you were an excellent teammate. And we'll be back again next year.